that rising tide raises all boats.
This is Andrew Huberman. He's a neuroscientist. He is a professor at Stanford. He also hosts the incredibly popular Huberman Lab podcast, which ranks in the top 10 podcasts of all podcasts globally. What is the secret to his success? He's had incredible rise to fame, recognition, and success over these last couple of years. What's the secret? Well, really, success has not come easy for Huberman, and it isn't a product of just sheer talent, though he has a lot of that, or sheer effort, and he has a whole lot of that. The truth is that his success has not come without help. And in a relatively recent interview with Peter Attia, Huberman shares his life journey from childhood all the way up to present time, and there is a common thread through all of them relating to his success, which is people helping him get to where he needs to go. And I want to share with you 4 examples of different mentors and friends that he talks about in his life who played key roles in helping him to get to where he is. Really, that starts out from a pretty rough place. His childhood home life was, well, it was pretty rough. His parents got divorced at an early age. It had an incredible impact on him and his behavior, even leading to him getting locked up for over a month. And he dealt with identity issues and self-worth issues for many, many years until someone finally showed up who really cared. Watch this first clip of somebody who showed up in his life who helped him get to where he is today.
It was like everything was just getting worse, worse, worse. Now, the thing that really saved me was this therapy thing. So I was placed into therapy. I had to go once or twice a week, I don't recall. But that therapist, who was trained in mostly psychoanalysis, but in some other dimensions too, was like the first person that that really like paid attention. I was like, oh, you know, and it's interesting because I do have the emotion. I do have to choke back a little bit here because, you know, my parents love me, I love them, but it's a crazy thing to have somebody say, listen, like to give you the confidence, like, we're going to figure this out. There's something very powerful about that. It wasn't like, you know, everything will be okay. It was like, we're going to figure this out. And that to me was like an amazing dialogue to be in. So it was like, okay, let's parse your situation, but even more so, let's just focus on what you want to do, what you want to create, what's important to you.
So I really love the line that he says that his therapist shares with him. We're going to figure this out. Can you imagine being a kid who's dealt with the things that he's dealt with? I mean, from his parents' divorce, which sounds very ugly, being locked up for a month. He's dealt with a lot of different people who've had negative influences in his life. He's run with the wrong crowd. And then somebody shows up who says, hey, I really care about you. And you have a sense of meaning and purpose, and you are someone who has value. And we need people like that in our lives who will tell us who we are and who will stick with us through the messiness. And clearly, whoever his therapist is, somebody who has stuck with him through a lot of that messiness. But even then, the messiness of his life continued into his adolescent years, into high school, into college, and even early professional life. And there was another mentor who showed up in his life named Mike Mentzer. You may be familiar with Mike Mentzer. He was a bodybuilder, and he showed up in his life to point Huberman towards paths of health, both physically and mentally, when Huberman could have gone down a very dark hole. Watch this clip. It's really great, an impact on Huberman.
So sooner or later, I was going to end up killing somebody or getting killed or just, you know, I mean, or in jail. And I'd been locked up once before. I mean, that's an experience I do not want again. And I realized this is terrible. Like I'm not doing anything well. So that was the moment. And I had the benefit of, at the time I was paying Mike Mentzer, the bodybuilder. And he used to bark at me over the phone. And he was like, PhD stands for piled high and deep. But then he'd say, listen, you seem really interested in ideas. Don't be a moron. He said this, these are Mike's words, not mine. He said, don't be a moron. Don't be a bodybuilder. Don't touch steroids, right? Which I didn't. Even though they were around a lot in gyms at that point. He's like, you have a mind, develop your mind. And that had a huge impact on me.
I love it. Don't be a moron. Don't be a moron. You know, the quality of our life really depends on our physical and mental health. And this was clearly somebody who showed up who pointed Huberman towards paths of health, and if you think about just the physical health crisis that we've dealt with in the U.S. for the last several decades, and the mental health crisis we've seen in the last 5 and 10 years. It's crazy. We need people who will show up and point us to paths of health, who will speak truth to us, who will say like, hey, stop going this way, start going this way. And that's really kind of what the Huberman Lab podcast has become. And yet, physical health, mental health, as important as it is, it's still not enough. Huberman himself talks about a lot of psychological and emotional poor health that he dealt with until another friend of his life came up and also spoke some tough love into his life. And he said something that Huberman remembered for his whole life. Let's watch this next clip.
Who's actually my lab operations manager, was a guy that I grew up with skateboarding, who told me early on when I was 14, he sat me down, looked me in the eye. He's a pretty tough love kind of guy. And he's like, look, your parents are really messed up. And so many of the people we know in skateboarding are super messed up. And he's like, if you mess up, I'm going to kick your ass. And then in the end, he moved away to Milpitas and I kind of just drifted off. But I remember that thinking, he said, it's not your fault, but if you screw up, it's your fault. And we still laugh about that now.
Huberman needed somebody in his life who would acknowledge how crappy his life has been. He said, it's not your fault, but now that you understand how complicated your life has been, now that you have dealt with all this, now you have this opportunity to make it better in your life. It's not your fault, but don't play the victim. Don't let all the baggage of your life keep you from moving forward and experiencing really good health in your life. You have to make a choice. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, I'd really love it if you go hit the little like button and the subscribe button. Apparently, it really helps to get the message out to more people. So all of this is so good. I mean, he's clearly had some different people in his life who've been very influential, but he needed more and we need more. Different people have played key roles in his life that deal with his past, that deal with some different crises that he's had, but it was another mentor who showed up to talk to him about the future, to share with him about creating beautiful work over just pursuing pure ambition. And this mentor was able to show him the powerful results of creating that beautiful work. That's not just about yourself, but it's actually for everyone. Let's watch this final clip about Huberman's work.
To stay in touch with that kind of feeling around doing things and to never let ambition pull you in a direction where you were divorced from that for too long. And yet he was also an extremely hard worker, but he understood that that's what Rick Rubin would call the source. Like that's the ability to stay working long hours and not feel like you're depleting yourself. So Ben and I got really close in those years. And then that I was working for that, like staying in touch with the things that give us energy, as opposed to being ambitious for ambition's sake, like really getting the order of that dialogue correct and putting love of craft first and letting ambition stem from that. And also just friendship and amazing mentors. I mean, in the podcast space, I remember being generous just makes everybody succeed more. And you learn from seeing how someone relates in other conversations. So I don't know.
So this person has clearly had a very positive impact on Huberman's life, and many have benefited from their influence in his life today. So what's the secret of Huberman's success? It really is relationships, not just his talent, not just his effort, though he should be clapped for, applauded for both of those things. It's really about relationships. And here's the bottom line. Your friends shape your future. Your friends shape your future. The people in your life have such a profound impact on your life. They impact you of where you'll go in life, where you won't go. It's either going to be positive or negative. And so let me ask you this question. Where do you want to go in life? What is your preferred destination? What do you really want? I want to help bring that from the subconscious level to the conscious level. What is it that you really want? And the follow-up question to that is, who do you need to spend more time with to help you get there? Who are the people that are impacting you positively, who are speaking truth, even hard truth in your life, even truth that sometimes, man, that kind of hurts a little bit, but they do it out of love. And again, who are the people you need to spend less time with? Who are the people that are just, just agreeing with you all the time. If people just agree with you all the time, they're actually not your friend. They're actually not helping you. Who do you need to spend less time with? What do you really want? And what are the relationships that are going to help you get that? Because getting what you really want is never an accident, and you're never going to get what you really want on your own. You need good relationships. So listen, I don't know what kind of community you have. I don't know what your faith is, but I want to just share with you from personal experience that life is so much better, and you get what you really want even more. It becomes something that's clear and accessible to you when you follow Jesus. Jesus actually has a 2,000-year track record of helping people get what they really want. And I know you probably just clicked into this video about Andrew Huberman, and now I'm talking about Jesus because Jesus has had such a huge impact on my life, not just in his teachings, not just in his guidance, but he also offers community. He offers a place to belong. And I've gotten to where I am in life because there are people who I am with constantly, who are not perfect people, but we all understand that we're in this together, actually sharpening one another. And why does Jesus offer this to you? Why does Jesus offer this community? It's because he really loves you. Jesus loves you. He loves you so much, he was willing to take personal responsibility for all of your wrongs. All of the times in your life that the wrongs that you've caused have put distance in your relationships, that have caused more isolation, that have dealt with more issues of identity confusion and just baggage in your life. We all deal with that because life is complicated. Jesus is willing to take personal responsibility for all of those wrongs. And he gives you a place to belong where you can grow and you can have people who will sharpen you and really help you reach the potential that has been given to you. So if you'd like to learn more about Jesus, I'd really love to talk with you more about him. You can go to HoustonOliver.com, click the tab that says Jesus, and maybe we can set up a conversation, talk more about him. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.